All right, some more lumber, guys. So in the Pacific Northwest, they like to load really wide. Their bunks are really wide. So we can't use the rub rail. Okay, so he'd come up and said this is 9 bunks and 16 foot long, and so he was wanting to do two stacks high here and here, 4, then 4 in the back, and then 1 single bunk in the middle. But then I told him I had to tarp it, and he's like, oh, because then it leaves a big gap in the middle for your tarps. So we chose to do it this way, which is a little harder because then he has to put that middle one pyramided on top, and it's difficult to do that with short forks. But he did a pretty good job of it. So try to, when you're, I guess the moral of that story is when you're loading, try to think of how it's going to work when you tarp it. And oftentimes the forklift driver can stack it the way you want it. Now, so we can go through the rub rail here because we don't have the hook. And technically we could have done it over there if we would have unwound our strap, right? Put this end through and then hook it and then wind it back up and throw it over. because it's so wide, we don't really want to put the strap against the lumber. So I'm hoping I can tuck it up underneath the lumber. I'll see. So this is the, uh-oh boys, what are we gonna do here? So I don't like to wind it like that because they never really truly get tight. It just keeps twisting in the winch. That one's gonna happen again, so we're gonna have to wind this one. When you wind up the strap like that, there's so much strap wound up on that winch that it just keeps getting the wind tighter, you know what I mean? Ah, there we go again. Getting hot. See what I mean? I don't know where I'm supposed to tarp, guys. I don't know if I'm supposed to tarp right here. Clog up the entire loading facility by tarping or what? Okay. They don't allow tarping at the facility. So, I'm gonna leave without tarps. Have no choice. Well, I got out of there, not tarped, because, you know, it's kind of funny. I mean, not really funny. This happens a lot. A lot of facilities don't let you tarp on site. But what's funny is, where do they think you're tarping? I mean, I guess at the truck stop. But what also is funny is this rate confirmation says there's a bunch of warnings in there about tarping. It's like, must tarp at facility, must take a picture of the tarp before you leave and send to the broker, if not tarped when you get to the receiver, load will be rejected and an insurance claim. And then I called him about that before I picked it up. I said, hey, what's the deal with all this? This is pretty I mean, that would make sense with steel or something that is, you know, or sheetrock. But he goes, oh, that's a copy and paste rate confirmation from another customer. So don't worry about that. And I'm like, okay. He's like, it doesn't need to be tarped, but I don't need a picture or anything. I'm like, okay. Well, then I get to this facility, and of course, you know, I had already shut the camera off by the time I asked that guy, but he's like, oh no, we don't let anybody tarp here, because if we did, it would clog up the whole works, which it would. Absolutely true, it would. There wasn't enough room there. There'd be people out waiting on the road to get in to load or unload because I was sitting there tarping for 20-30 minutes. So anyway, so that's just, you know, typical flatbed stuff. I do wish that the brokers would give a little bit more care to their rate confirmations.
In 1/4 mile, take the ramp on the right to I-5 south, then exit right.
He can say all he wants over the phone, oh, don't worry about that picture. But the rate confirmation that I signed says must have picture before leaving the shipper, right? So, you know, you really should have him rewrite that rate confirmation before taking off. But anyway, that's I gotta get some miles down and hopefully get home by tomorrow night. All right, guys. They didn't let me tarp. They didn't let me tarp at the facility, so now I've got to tarp back here. So I'm parked for the day. Let me know what you guys think of that. This is pretty common in the flatbed industry. You know, broker tells you load has to be tarped, but then shipper tells you you're not allowed to tarp on the premise. And sometimes it makes me a little upset. Sometimes it doesn't bother me. I do like to tarp off premise, but let's see if I can get this up here, guys. Ugh. So the problem with not tarping at the site is you can't have the forklift lift the tarps up. I guess you technically could put them up there, throw a strap over there, strap them down, then drive. I've done that before, but I was all strapped down before I got told I wasn't allowed to tarp. So, oh. What in the hell? Take all the height advantage I can get. So then, what would happen if I take the camera off so I don't ruin the camera lifting it up. Gotta use the old noggin. Get the job done. So that's another reason why you probably ought to carry a ladder. So it's pretty windy out here. Luckily I'm shielded from the wind from these trucks a little bit, because the trucks shield me a little bit. So I backed into this little hole here hoping to get some windshield. Okay, let's get to it, boys. Uh-oh. Oh, I almost went over, guys. That would have been fun. Bounce off the Crete trailer. Oh, don't mind me. Just a flatbed falling on his head. Flatbed operator. Oh, I don't like this wind, guys. A little bit worse up here. Okay. Okay. I was gonna attach that, but because of the pyramid, I can reach it from the bottom. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and button up the corners. We could save time if it's not blowing and do the front tarp at the same time while we're up here. But when it's a little windy, I don't like the tarp to get picked up from a breeze. So what do you guys think of that? Is that acceptable for shippers to say you're not allowed to tarp on premise, but it must be tarped? In one way, I think it kind of puts a lot of responsibility on the truck driver. You know, he's unable to protect it from getting wet, but if he doesn't protect it from getting wet, he might get a claim on the insurance, right? And it was raining when I left. Of course, this lumber's been sitting outside for probably 3 months getting rained on, so what was the difference? No, 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 no. Okay, now that I don't have a strap to hang on to get down, what am I going to do, guys? Yikes. Huh. What am I going to do? Oh, shit. All right. Uh-oh. Oh, I don't like that. put one more. I probably should have pulled a little bit more over the edge. It's always a little harder to button up the back and the front when there's no deck to stand on. I'm gonna do it this way because I'm right-handed. Okay. Go button up the front. I always like to do front and back before I focus on the sides. Seems like a logical thing to do to me. Front and back are the hard parts. Okay. The long ones. Okay, see on the front, we want to do the end or the side flaps before we do the end flap. Oh boy. Needs a lot of stretch. Okay. Yeah, that brakes is gonna whip me in the back really bad. Okay. I don't like it when it uses the whole deck space, because then we have kind of a mess here. Those were all long. Ow. Okay, we don't want that tarp to come undone and get down into the tires. Let's see. Do it. I'm going to button up this back a little bit better to keep this from flapping around, but that's the hard part, guys. I'm going to run my rope like I always do. I'll end the video just so it doesn't get too long, but all my other tarping videos you'll see the rope the way I do it, so I'll end it here. That was the hard part, guys. Now it's just running rope and button everything up. All right, guys, there it is, finished product. I ran out of rope before I got to the end, so I just put some bungees in here. I like to use the middle of the bungee rather than the steel, because the steel tends to, and this one's going a long way too, so this one's going all the way to Arkansas, Oregon to Arkansas. But what do you guys think? Do you guys approve? That's it. Non-stop to Arkansas. No, I'm gonna stop at the house for 34. So